Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of our slash Am I the Butthole? Am I the butthole for telling my wife that leaving her used pad in my brother's place was inappropriate? My wife and I were invited to my brother's 31st birthday. He's single and lives alone in his apartment. So to give you the heads up, my wife and him don't get along so well, but can be civil enough to sit at the same table. So, we went and had dinner and talked and everything was going well, no argument, nothing till after my wife went to use the bathroom. Later my brother went to use the bathroom, then came back looking pissed. He kept giving me and my wife looks, but I didn't know what was going on till he pulled me aside before we left and told me that my wife had left her used pad in his bathroom. I was shocked and didn't know what to say because this felt highly inappropriate. He said he didn't appreciate what my wife did and that it was a sign of disrespect towards him. I apologized profoundly and said I didn't know about it. He asked me to speak to her or she wouldn't be welcome in his place anymore. We got in the car and I asked my wife about it. She nonchalantly said there was nothing wrong with what she did and that my brother was being ridiculous. I kind of flipped and told her it was very inappropriate for her to leave her used pad in his place even if it was in the bathroom and in the trash can because it made him uncomfortable. She yelled asking what she was supposed to do and I told her she could have took it with her and threw it outside, not in his bathroom, that's my brother's place, and he told me how he felt about it. She yelled at me calling my brother an incel and me an butthole for getting in her face about it. She said she needed to use the bathroom and it's not like the pad was visible since she dumped it in the trash can. At home we still argued about it and she kept on calling me and my brother names. She's currently not speaking to me and is avoiding me entirely. Regardless, I feel like it's his place and he gets to express what makes him uncomfortable in it. Next story. Am I the butthole for not letting my husband sit with us during girls' night in? My husband, 35-year-old, and he is disabled. He's in a wheelchair and is home 24/7. Because he needs me around to assist him, I'd have him and his chair nearby while I do laundry or cook or clean. He's with me most of the time except for when I go to the bathroom, but even then he'd complain about me being away for so long. I don't even go shopping, everything gets delivered to our home. I haven't seen my girlfriends for a while and have arranged to start having girl night-ins at my place since I can't be away from home, especially at night. I asked my husband for some privacy when my friends come and he took it badly, took it as in I was annoyed and bothered by him, but I assured him it wasn't like that. He said if it's true then I'd let him sit with us during girls' night in. I absolutely refused and tried explaining that my friends and I need privacy and this is the only time we spend together. I also explained that having him sit with us would ruin the purpose of girls' night in. He threw a hissy fit and called me selfish and rude for refusing. He started giving me the cold shoulder saying until I agree to include him, he will not be speaking to me. Am I the butthole for choosing this hill to die on according to him? More context: I haven't gone out in a while, haven't seen my friends or even family in a while because he wouldn't go with me and also refuses to stay home with someone else to look after him. He even wouldn't let me be out of sight for more than few minutes. I sometimes have to bring him near the bathroom so he could wait for me with the door open if I'm taking more time. He isn't sociable by nature, so he doesn't have friends. The only two friends he had showed their true color after he became disabled and put a distance. About the girls' night in issue. He said he would not let my friends in if I continue to exclude him, which caused a major argument between us. Next story. Am I the butthole for returning my husband's birthday gift to pay for the birthday cake my daughter baked after he refused to pay her? Basically the title. My daughter, 16, has a thing for baking. She bakes cakes and I said some not all wood sweets and makes money out of it by selling her work to relatives, friends, and supposedly us. My husband's, her stepdad, 45th birthday took place days ago. He asked my daughter to bake him the birthday cake and she agreed. I told him about paying her, to which he responded with PFFF pay her. Get out of here, I'm her dad. I insisted, seeing she's a yes person and a people's pleaser, so won't outright demand the money from him. He said he'd pay, but days went by and he didn't pay her a cent. I decided to go ahead and sell the wristwatch I bought him as his birthday cake and pay her for her. He found out and went off on me. I told him he had rough time and should have paid her $7 before he received the cake. He said that I was teaching her to treat familial relationship as transactional and rating her to be materialistic. I explained the time, effort, and even money she put towards making the cake, but he lashed out, verbally calling me an butthole for making this move and for enabling my daughter to expect so much from family that she's supposed to help with nothing in return. He's furious and told almost the whole family about how I took back his birthday gift and returned it. I got enough shame from family members to begin to think that I might be an butthole for how I dealt with this. Am I the butthole? Y'all, my daughter did want and expect to be paid. If she intended for it to be for free, then I would have kept my mouth shut. And also, the wristwatch isn't expensive. I kept the rest of the money after giving my daughter her share. Next story. Am I the butthole for canceling a wedding gift when the wedding was canceled? My husband's sister was supposed to be married in September. I chose an item from the registry, but the exact item she had added had a weird detail. She had explicitly mentioned previously needing option A, but on the registry she accidentally listed option B, so I asked her to make sure I got what she needed. So, she knew exactly what I was planning to gift. Sadly, they have now broken up. The gift hadn't shipped yet anyway, so I canceled it. This past week she reached out to me about it. Since she knew I was purchasing it and we live far away, she was concerned that it had been delivered, but someone had stolen it. When I explained that I had canceled it, she was pretty upset. My mother-in-law has now reached out to us about it and feels that I was unkind to cancel the order. She feels that since my sister-in-law is clearly going through a difficult time, and the holidays are approaching, it would have been more appropriate to let the gift reach her anyway. Obviously, these are unfortunate circumstances, but this was a substantial gift, $700, and pretty well above the threshold of what I'd normally spend for a typical holiday gift. Before it comes up, I'll mention short and sweet that my husband is in the military and currently deployed, so that's why he isn't a big piece in this puzzle and I'm soloing this awkward adventure. Next story. Am I the butthole for uninviting my future sister-in-law from my wedding after she told my fiancé I was pregnant? I decided to keep my pregnancy to myself because I don't know what I'm going to do about it, and I knew my fiancé wasn't going to be happy with the news. My future sister-in-law / best friend is the only other person who knew, as I only took the test at her suggestion and at her house. She also agreed that her brother was unlikely to be happy about it, but she felt like I should tell him immediately anyway. We kept arguing over it because I told her I needed time to process it and she felt like I was making excuses to avoid telling him. In the end, she told him herself while we were having dinner with their family. He was so upset he confronted me in front of everybody, so now they all know and everybody is upset with me for keeping it from him. His sister kept trying to reach out and apologize after it happened, but I was ignoring her as her only excuse was that he was her brother, so she couldn't keep it from him, and that she gave me 3 weeks to tell him myself. The last time she called me, I was so upset that I answered and yelled at her. In the heat of the moment, I uninvited her from the wedding and told her I would find a new bridesmaid. I've given my fiancé and his family another reason to be upset with me, but I've refused to let her come to the wedding even as a regular guest, despite them asking me to and it being important to them for her to attend. Am I the butthole? Next story. Am I the butthole for walking out of the airport when I saw my husband's mom standing there with her luggage? I am 30-year-old woman, don't have the best relationship with my husband's mom. Since day one she tried to make remarks and compare me to her. She then tried to get on my good side and started overly praising everything I do and sometimes even copying me, like that one time when she literally dyed her hair purple just like mine, and when everyone pointed out how ridiculous she looked, she actually blamed me and accused me of trying to make a joke out of her. So, anyways, my husband and I took 2 weeks off work to go visit some places out of the country, tourism in other words. Thing is, I was the one who saved up for and arranged for the trip, my husband was responsible for booking the tickets. My husband's mom wanted to come along and threw temper tantrums when I said no. She called, texted, sent people to talk to me into letting her come, even threatened to call the police and make some complaint up to get us to stay if she can't come. My husband said we should just take her, but I told him he was wrong to tell her about the trip in the first place. He gave me an ultimatum. Said he wouldn't go if she can't come, and I told him I'd gladly call his bluff, which made him take his words back and say fine. I will tell her to stop it because we won't take her. Things got quieter, suspiciously quieter. The day of the trip came and we got to the airport at 2 p.m. My husband was walking ahead of me and was looking left and right like he was looking for someone. I asked him, but he didn't respond. He led me to the waiting area, and first thing I saw was his mom standing there with her luggage. I froze in my spot, I felt a cold wave washing over me, and I was fuming inside. She and my husband were hugging Nats when I quietly turned around and started walking towards the exit. My husband followed me while shouting at me to stop. He tried to stop me, but I told him off the harshest way possible. He tried to say I was overreacting and that his mom was there anyway and I should let it go and not mess the trip up for us. I told him he and his mom could still go and that I was going home. I went home and sobbed into my dog's fur for several minutes. Turned out he booked her a ticket without me knowing. An hour later he came home yelling and raging about how pathetic and spiteful I was to walk out and go home and ruin the trip last minute. I told him he caused this to happen. He said that I was being so hard on his mom, it's ridiculous. I refused to fight anymore, but he kept on berating me, then called my family to tell them that the trip was cancelled and that it was because of me. My family said that I shouldn't have ruined it for myself and should have sucked it up and done my best to enjoy. Did I really overreact? I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.